To tonight's episode of Too Funny Feedback. Mike, my name's Tom, and co-hosting this show with me tonight, as always, is the amazing Lisa. Tonight, each of our comedians will be performing a 5-minute set. After your set, Lisa and I will be giving about 5 minutes of feedback before moving on to the next comedian. While we invite discussion during your allotted time, we are consistently booked, except not tonight for this show, so we normally try and tell you to, keep it to the time that we give you, but you can go a little bit over this week, since we are shy the full 6. But yeah, if we don't address all of your concerns during the allotted time, feel free to follow up with us via email or Facebook. We'll be happy to go into more depth. Also, feel free to look at the timer, either in Gallery View or by pinning the square to keep track of your time while you're doing your set. And to our audience, keep in mind as we get started that our intention is to help facilitate the growth of the comedians who come to us with varying levels of experience. Also, comedy's subjective, so you may not agree with everything that we say. We probably won't agree with each other. That's okay. That's what comedy is. But additionally, if the audience or the comedians enjoy the show, want to support the stream, please consider making a donation of any size at districtcomedy.io. Again, that's districtcomedy.io. Or by following the District Comedy platforms. The link to all that can be found in the episode description. Also, special announcement. This is my last quote-unquote episode before Rebecca Bollinger takes over. Woo, woo, woo! Because she's joining the District Comedy family. That being said, I'll still be in every once in a while as people, go on vacation and get sick and stuff. So you're not completely rid of me, but she has significantly more writing experience than me, so I'm really excited to have her as part of the team. You can check out her bio at districtcomedy.io. That being said, let's get this party started. We're gonna, as always, start with our favorite first comedian. Give it up, all the way from Ireland, John O'Keefe!
Hi everyone. Sorry you're leaving, Tom. I hope it wasn't me.
It was you.
It wasn't. It was. I know. I did my first live gig in almost a year over the weekend.
Wow.
Wow, exactly. I was so excited. We're all comedians, so we understand. It felt like, when you're going to see an ex and there's going to be sex involved. Like it, she knows it, now your cab driver knows it. Good fun. So I had to travel up to Northern Ireland to do a gig, and then I was waiting outside the pub to be let in. Fine. Again, it was like queuing for casual sex. Not a problem. All my references for this story are sex-based, just to be clear. My jokes were like the condom, and the crowd were like the pharmacist. That doesn't make sense. No, that doesn't work. Hold on, I'll fix it. My jokes were like the condom, and the crowd was like the hooker I'm about to penetrate. Jesus, that's worse. I was excited about the gig, okay? I was excited about the gig. So I walk in, and you guys all know, right? Straight away, I was just like, this is a disaster. Like, the stage was like a circle, and it looks like a crow's nest from a ship 100 miles above the floor. And the room itself is weird. It looks like the interior of the Titanic after it sank. Just not good. And now it gets worse. I'm examining the crowd. To the right of the stage, there's a huge rowdy stag party, bachelor party group of lads. They've like a collective IQ of around 7. They look like they've been drinking since birth. They're speaking a language similar to English, but it seems to have evolved into a series of grunts and screams and faces. These guys are a problem. And in front of me, there's a table of almost attractive people. You know what I mean? Like distance is their friend kind of thing.
Oh my God.
And to the left, there's some slightly more civilized people, but clearly not interested in comedy. It was like anti-clockwise decency march, from bad to presentable to human. That was the first act on, and when I get up on stage, I go for it, because I know I haven't got much time to win these guys over. And it starts out amazing. It's for about 30 seconds. I think I might have lost them on the cousin fucking bit that I do, because I think a lot of them may have been cousins in relationships. So I don't think they liked it. And they got really annoyed when I said this one thing that really upset them. I said anal sex, which is fine. I think the problem was I proceeded saying anal sex with you Protestants only enjoy, which, I mean, it was a joke, but they seem very offended. No one likes to be reminded they're Protestants. And I started getting very flustered. And the stag party now are like, they're like chewing the furniture. It's getting out of hand. And the whole thing's a mess. But I see one guy in the whole crowd, and he's really engaged. And he's even telling the rest of them, shut up, shh, shh, shh. So I'm like, I know he's on my side. So I the only hope I have, I said, sir, what do you do for a living? And he goes, fuck you, just tell the joke. So I lost my only fan in less than a second, which is hard to do, even if you're trying. So I tried to tell the rest of the crowd who aren't listening, but they're just becoming increasingly British. Like, it's out of control. So I keep talking, but the crowd keep getting louder and louder to drown me out. So I'm getting louder and louder, and the crowd are getting louder and louder again, to the point where I'm basically screaming my jokes. It's kind of like I'm leading a rally for my enemy to hate me even more. I'm defeated, and I just get off the stage, and the bar manager's waiting for me, and he goes, we're stopping the comedy. he goes, we've had a record amount of complaints. And I checked my watch. I'd been on stage for less than 5 minutes, and I was like, are they texting in? How are they this efficient? This crowd looked like they'd never been to school, but they've created an ad hoc complaint system while being drunk and inbred. Oh my God. So I guess in the end, the correct analogy would be my jokes were like sex without a condom, and the crowd were like every STI known to mankind. That's my story. Thanks for having me, District Comedy. I appreciate it.
Whoa!
Woo!
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oof, strong set this week. Not that it isn't always strong, but oh my God, you had me this week. Jumping right into it, I loved it right off the bat. Kind of referencing something I said, because again, keeping it present for people. But like, I liked the seeing an ex when you know sex is gonna be involved. I feel like that's relatable. Anything that has happened personally to me, I feel like is relatable, even though it not necessarily mean that it happens often to others. But I still enjoyed it. I also liked, so the first time that you said like jokes are like the condom and then audience is like the pharmacist, like I genuinely believed that, like, for that first one and for the second one, which I forget what the analogy was, but like either way, I thought it was really strong as far as, like, I genuinely believed that you had, like, fucked up a joke and were trying to fix it, which actually was really fun. And then was actually kind of rewarding in that way when you brought it back at the end. And it was like, no, actually, that was intentional the whole time as a callback. So good on you. Like the comment, they look like they've been drinking since birth. I thought that was fun. And then you had the joke about, like, their grunts and screams and faces into like something that was like English, and I thought that might be a good opportunity to be like the classic joke about, like, speaking English versus speaking American. I feel like I don't know, I couldn't understand them. It's like they were speaking American because they were just like unintelligible and dumb. That's how I feel right now. Self-hating American. Liked the whole, like, almost attractive distance as a friend. I thought great. Keeper. Let me see, what else do I have here? And then if you wanted to go with the American thing, I thought we also have the whole thing here that you kind of referencing your jokes about, like, the cousins fucking each other. That's also a very, like, I feel like, I don't know, Lisa, you tell me, that's like a West Virginian joke, right?
It's a Southern joke.
Yeah.
West Virginia is in there too, but technically I can tell you that West Virginia, you can't marry your cousin. You can in New York, but
I don't like that you have first-hand knowledge of that, Lisa. I feel like I gotta research this. I know this specifically, and unfortunately it's not a thing. But no, like, if you wanted to, you could then, like, bring it back to the American thing, or, like, try and make a Southern joke out of it. Again, more applicable if you're gauging your audience, if this is like another Zoom show and, like, there's more of a possibility of Americans actually being in the audience.
guess so, yeah.
Which is ironic that I'm like encouraging you make fun of Americans when they're in the room with you, possibly. I also think that like I'm not like in full wordsmith mode right now, but like there is a connection somewhere between for your anal joke between the word Protestant and prostate, and I want you to find it. That is my challenge to you.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Yeah, hashtag Pride Month. But also, I also, when you were talking about the only fan in the crowd, at the bar, I really want to see.
That's completely true, by the way. All of that's true.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that that's completely true. Because I'm sure bars are like a mess right now. Everybody's just like, I just want to drink and feel people. Because things are opening up again. But also, I thought it'd be fun if you wanted to play with maybe adding a twist at the end that like only fan in the audience is like really harsh towards you. Then when you try and do crowd work in them, and then like maybe sneak in there, it's like, damn, Dad, like just as a little twist at the end.
There was a moment when I was leaving the bar and me and him met eyes, and I tried to have dignity because I'm better than him, obviously. But you know, I wonder if I could like ham up that moment maybe, or bring that into it somehow. But I don't know if that's the funny part, because that does seem, I've tried this like 3 times now, and that seems to be the funniest part of the story. That little part there.
Well, also, and I think if it's the funniest part to you, then it will relay to us if then you like focus in on it. So if that's the funny part and you want to emphasize that, then that's
maybe the
too.
callback could be that instead of the
like calling back to the set. Maybe is that what you're saying?
Maybe, I don't know. I think I'm just trying to think of ways to end it. Maybe do something with that. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah. You're good. Think of it. Yeah. Otherwise, I didn't have much, and I'm just gonna give it over to Lisa.
Well,
thanks. I'm gonna miss you, Tom.
Oh, I'll still be around. I'm still running the tech. I'm still here every week, just not on screen.
Okay.
I loved this set. It's different because I don't know if you've ever done just one story the whole time through. I feel like maybe you have, but not.
I don't usually do stories. I kind of think they're a bit of a weak area of mine.
I loved it because it showed a different side of you that you can do that, and it was hysterical. I wrote great story. I really enjoyed it. I love how you set it up, and like you did so many new things tonight. Presentation wise, that I really enjoyed, like that whole you messed up the joke, like Tom, and I was like, oh, and then I realized it was actually like set up for things to come. But it was great how you did it. You took your time, and you're like, wait, no, you really took your time with this and had fun and really told the story in the moment. You set up the scene so well.
Do you know why that is? I have to be honest. Because this is about a 4-minute story, and I'm trying to drag it out to 5 minutes. So I was just purposefully taking way too long.
But it worked.
Do it every time.
Yeah, but it worked. That's the thing, is I think that you have more time than you like. If we're with you, take the time. I liked it because it made you present to tell the story.
Yeah,
like it was happening.
That's true.
Like it really did, versus I have to get through the time, then we don't get to enjoy it as much because you're not enjoying yourself as much. Does that make sense?
Completely.
All right. So I thought I'd say keep it like that. It was great. You still didn't I think you were still under a little bit of time. So like you had it. So I loved the new pace I wrote. I loved the timing of back and forth. It was just a new pace tonight. And maybe it was because you were stretching it out, but it worked. And it allowed new things to come out. Drinking from birth, I loved it. Was it similar to, I forget what I wrote here, can't read it. But I the only thing was when you were describing the place, the only thing I noticed was the hands. And so the hands came like this, and it depends how much you want to use them. I feel like you have them up for a little bit. I would say if you're on Zoom, just be like very specific with them when they come up here. Like, because they kind of like, it was like these hands, and if that's what you want, that's great. But I feel like you can make that point and then drop them if you want. But the rest of the show was so good. Great. What did I write? Great. Almost at a distance. Like I just thought there was just great description. I liked that. So full disclosure, my 7-year-old decided to come upstairs for a second, and during the anal joke,
Okay.
So
Sorry.
I had to mute myself.
Right.
I was like, I don't know if you saw me. I was like,
No, I didn't.
someone. So that was a small child, and she didn't hear anything. But I'm sorry, I'm a single parent right now. So forgive that so I didn't get to hear that whole joke, but I did love the punchline. That no one likes to be reminded that they are Protestant. I thought that was fantastic. So I got it, even though I missed part of the because I was trying to protect my small child's ears. But it was good. It was really just the pace was fun. I loved the whole when you were like when he said "fuck you," you acted it out. It was great with the thing, and then you were like the face you made because it was like you were hearing it in the moment, and you took that moment, and it was great. I really loved that you took that time. Like it was really. I feel like the reason this was so strong for so many reasons, but like you really took your time, you really acted it out, you set up the scene so well. So the writing is really there. The setup and was good, the whole order of it, but then the description and the facial expressions and the pacing were excellent. So really everything just sort of it kept building really well. So I thought that was great. At the end when they're complaining and only texting and that was really funny though. I know you said STI right at the end. Is that what you said? In America, just gonna let you know, we say STDs.
Do you? I thought it was STI everywhere.
No, we are special. We like to call all of our diseases.
I prefer STDs. I think it's way classier.
Disease. So it's like sexually transmitted, I assume, infection. Is that what that one means?
Yeah, yeah.
Where we say
we're gonna bring back the STD for sure.
We're diseased.
So we say STD. So and that's why I knew what you meant.
Funnier.
But STD, that's what we say.
Class.
So I just wanted you to know that difference.
And I'm delighted to hear that. That's wonderful news.
Delighted to know all about that. We call it STD. Yeah. So, but that's what I would say. Take the time and always and like the back and forth. I really felt like maybe this is because you were in front of people. Like we really had a good back and forth tonight. You're like, yeah, in my first gig, yeah, really. Like it was just a really nice time for reaction.
Yeah, I've been struggling with the pacing, as you know, so I'm trying to get slower, more relaxed. That's good to know.
Yeah, no, it's great. I say like you have more breathing room than you think. By the way, Desiree says in Canada we say both depending on what you have. Really, like one's an infection and one's a disease. Do they like?
Yeah, I think we say infection more because most things can be treated now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's if it can be treated, it's an infection, and if it can't be treated, it's a disease.
No more, you know.
We just put them all together. We say they're all diseases here.
Yeah.
Well, John, but thank you. I really enjoyed that, and I am gonna, I look forward to the next new thing you can do and all the fun stuff you bring. Yeah. So thank you.
And also, sorry, just before we give John a round of applause, I do want to like reemphasize because Lisa really touched on something important because I do notice a lot of comedians miss it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like what you're kind of speaking to, Lisa, is that like you did the impersonation of the guy in the audience and remembered to react to it before saying your next line in the dialogue. I think that's like the key thing that like really enhanced it for me. Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah.
You did, yes, you did you in the moment of hearing that, and you really did it. So like it was like a performing moment. It was like hearing that as someone standing up there thinking it was your ally. It was great.
Yeah.
That's about being that's sort of being present in your story. You know, we talk about being present to each other on the Zoom link, but being present in your story is great.
So this time, instead of giving John a round of applause, we're gonna give him the comedy Oscar for reacting to his bits. Give it up for John O'Keefe, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
At least you got that night. You got a great little set there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, just keep having horrible nights would be my main note to you. Comes up with great material. And next up on the mic, we have coming to us all the way from Spain. Her name starts with an S. It ends with an A. Give it up for Simona. Woo, woo, woo,
woo! Woo! Yeah. Oh my God. I love this mic and I love you guys so much. And yeah, I know when I'm sorry, I will not see you, Tom.
Oh.
But yeah, and I love following John. I follow him all the time. I like following Irishmen. I mean, there's a great chance I might get killed, and I love that. I loved. So yeah, I do have this accent, and I know I have to explain myself in a way. I don't know. I feel I have to do that. Maybe I don't. I don't know. So yeah, I'm originally from Romania. Yay! No? No. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We only have like 3 good people there. Yeah, and we are contractually obligated to mention them while abroad. Yeah. Otherwise, they don't let us out of the country. Yeah, and we are the ones with Transylvania, vampires and stuff, only that we don't have any vampires or stuff. Yeah, so I was born in the 80s, like the best years of communism. Yay! Yay. Also known as the Hunger Games. Chernobyl happened. Yay, Chernobyl. Yeah. We watched it live. Yeah. As we were lucky enough to have good seats. Yeah, and safe enough to survive it, I guess. I don't know. But weirdly, I mean, at the time, like the biggest concern of the Vatican were the outrageous music videos of Madonna.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Holy Father, children are dying. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. Have you seen like a prayer? Fucking awesome. Yeah, I know. I bitch a lot about my people and country, but actually Romania is pretty great, yeah? Especially if you don't live there anymore. Yeah. And you know how people clap on planes in different parts of the world? Well, Romanians only clap when the plane arrives safely in a better country. Yeah, and we are the ones that eat bread with everything. I mean, with potatoes, with watermelon, with bread. You know, like the biggest curse on a Romanian would be a gluten allergy. And recently this chef asked me what were my favorite dishes as a child. And I mean, I come from the poorest town of the poorest region in Romania. You know, we never put favorite in front of food. But now I enjoy fancy things like bread with butter on it. I go to a restaurant and I order vegetarian burger. Yeah. And on the side, fries with bacon. And some extra bread, please. And then, as a true Christian, I eat the only way I know how, with guilt. So yeah, you know, favorite dish or acquired taste? No, we don't taste. We eat the food that we can acquire. Yeah, I like bombing on shows. I love it. No, I really do. I feel like it feels like home. Bread and bombs. I know. This is why sometimes I tell jokes on subjects no one relates to, you know, like communism. That's a great subject for comedy. But then I hear other people complain about, I don't know, a dry cookie. No, it's okay, I get it. I mean, dry cookies are the worst, you know. I know, people are dying, but they are dying like out there in the world. My cookie is here and its shit is ruining my day. Fucking cookie. So I have so little time left, so actually in my life, yeah, I don't know. Nothing else, okay. Like I have like 2, 3, maybe 4 years left. I do a lot of drugs, so yeah. Lot of vodka. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Simona while you can. Oh my god! I hope you don't die. We would miss you a lot. I thought people were gonna miss me being the timer for the show going forward, but we'll really miss you if you die. So don't do that. But jumping into it, you know, we're doing the good things as far as like referencing things that are happening in the show as we start the set to kind of connect things. So like talking about John and following him on Facebook, that's great. I do think that, like, you kind of, I think you were a little bit, like, scared kind of improvising that material. And the reason I say that is just because, like, I thought that it was funny. I thought it was great. And, sorry, just letting Amira into the room. But, you jumped on the whole premise of, like, following an Irishman and, like, getting killed by him, being like, ooh, it's exciting. Like, I would totally be down for that. I think, like, you just need to, even if you're, like, feeling a little nervous about it, like, dive into it and, like, because really I wanted you to elaborate on, like, why that was, like, I don't know, hot and kinky for you. Like, I think that could have been fun. But I liked the only 3 good people to mention from Romania. I wanted to, like, clarify, and this could be a tag for you if you want, like, if you are one of the 3 people, and if not, then who the 3 people are. And that could even be like a good setup for like a rule of 3s, like so-and-so, and then something weird. Which I guess they'd all have to be Romanian probably. Would make sense. But I liked the vampires thing. And this was like, honestly, like a joke that was really strong because of how you delivered it. Just because of like the pausing that you took between like, yeah, you know, vampires and stuff, we actually don't have vampires or stuff. Like the way that you laid it out was like it was a nice surprise for me, and there were a couple, you know, nice surprising nuggets throughout your set. But that one really got me. I like the good seats to Chernobyl. I know that like some of this material we've heard before, but I still thought it was strong, and I think that you've adjusted it a little bit, and I've liked the changes. The Madonna, like a prayer while children are dying, is a great joke, and I think that it kind of ties in a theme that happens throughout a good portion of your set. And because I know that you also have some material on being a minimalist that you have, I think that a good place for you to dive is like having a chunk of your set that is like, this is the part of my set that is like about privilege. I think that's maybe a theme that can tie each of these things together. And then going into that, like more about the privilege stuff, loved all the stuff about like we just want to have bread on bread, and then like it being a gluten allergy. It's almost like I feel like you can draw a lot of comparisons to like the current hipster culture with that, which you did already by like alluding to gluten allergy, but just like I want to like maybe see the restaurant or something, and like the person's having bread, and then like I don't know, somebody else is in the restaurant. It's just like, this is the first time I don't know, something privileged. But
like avocado toast or something. Like
yeah, maybe. Think about it. This just like my first thoughts. And also, this is something I noticed because I misheard you. Because I think you said like poorest town or something, and it was like poorest town, the poorest, and like I thought you said Tom, which is not what you said, but it reminded me of a good note, which is like another like hot tip from Tom about like how to re-engage the audience and make them be present in your set again. If you know the name of anybody in the room, like whether it's from previous crowd work that you've done in the set, do your normal material, and like if you can just interject the person's name and pretend like you're talking to them specifically for a second, that re-engages the entire room, or at least that specific person. Lisa, I saw you perk up. Oh, okay, go for it. You got things to do. It's cool. But yeah, so I thought that was good, and like really like any joke that you tell, you can kind of do that with. And then yeah, when you go to the dry cookie joke at the end, that is like the last one that I think like would be in the line of privilege jokes. So I think that that's a good one you have, and I think that like I want to hear more about like life in Romania. It's like, I don't think you know what you're asking for, Tom.
Exactly.
But,
Too dark.
Don't
I
worry.
actually tried that. It's too dark.
Ooh. Well, I don't know. Maybe people will acclimate to it because of how dark Bo Burnham's special was. That's like the new hot thing. But anyway, just some things to think about. And take it away, Lisa.
Hey, sorry. And sorry, I perked up because a small child came to me.
Small child.
Sorry, I apologize for that. She didn't come in for the set, but you know, she knows all about the Christian guilt that I will give her with food soon. So,
Yeah.
but no, I really like that you always, like you said, you bring something topical when the starting, following an Irishman, you know, and I do think there's an opportunity to say, you could say something of like, what would thrill you? I like that what Tom would like getting, but I just thought it was funny, but it's still like, I'm like, oh, there is an opportunity to joke there, but I know you were riffing. So I love that. Cause I love when you are very spontaneous or you see something right in and there. I think your improvs or your quips are really great. Three good per people contract. I love that. The obligation, I think, and I do think there's a good rule of three thing there you could add there. And the delivery, I'm going to just probably reiterate pretty much most of what Tom said, is that I really like the delivery or stuff because I laughed. I was like, oh, or stuff. I was like, yes, oh my gosh. Such a simple joke, but it works so well because of the delivery. It was great. In the 80s, loved the best years of communism. I just thought that this was really fun. I thought you always have a great pace and energy, very conversational, especially when you're like talking about the Pope and like, have you heard? Like, because you changed your voice slightly, but just enough. Like you kind of took out your accent for a second. But it was enough of a change, and it also added to the delivery of the joke and the timing. So I thought that was great. Yeah, I really like the theme here when going through and talking about your favorite food in front of you. We never had put favorite in front. I feel like there was something I was like, ooh, what do you put in front? Like, that's what I wanted to know. I was like, ooh, what's in front of you?
Bread.
Yes. Right. So that like, but there's, that just made me think of that. The one thing I would suggest right here is when you went into like, when I go into restaurants now, like it didn't have as much of a segue. Like I knew you were still on the same topic, but you're like, so now from back then to now what I order, just saying so now would really be wonderful. And just a simple way to just, I was for a second like, oh, okay, are we still connected to the joke prior or not? It's still food, but I wasn't sure knowing that, but I love the Christian, I serve all my food guilt, but and a really great word choice, acquire. This is what I think when you think a specific thing, it like a word like that, besides it, there are funnier words, like John said earlier, STD is funnier than STI. Same thing with acquire. There's something you wouldn't use that term usually to talk about food, so it was awesome, and yeah. it describes it very perfectly that way. So bombing feels like home. At first it's like, oh no, you're not bombing, and then you like slipped out. I was like, oh, Romania is great. All right, it was really very, very funny. And it's also, unfortunately, you're feeding it. I don't know if it's unfortunately, it's great for your set, but you're feeding in probably to a lot of stereotypes Americans may have about that area of the world, which makes me sad. But yeah, we do, unfortunately. So
I've been compared with Melania and Trump. That's horrible.
Oh my, I'm sorry. No,
yeah.
I don't do that to you. You would never kill a rose garden like she did. I'm sure of it. No, that wouldn't. See, I would never even think that. But it's funny how Americans are so, in general. I'm being very general here. Have very limited knowledge of that area of the world, or you're like, they're not, we're not known for our world.
Well, I also think that like it's advantageous that like if anybody's going to joke about that area of the world, it should be somebody from that area of the world.
Yes, and that's right. They should. There's also an opportunity. Like I love the dry cookie thing. It's so perfect because unfortunately, probably most Americans have been like, this dry cookie ruined my day, Or you can also bring it back, like the idea of like having a cookie as a Romanian, like, you're
having a cookie. What the fuck? Are you complaining about having a cookie? That's insane.
Bring that back if you wanted, but like I just love it. I thought that was great. And then Is this I think I felt like it was very spontaneous, so I have so little left like time left like in my life. Was that spontaneous? Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that was great. Fantastic. Like that to me, and like I feel like you have this really great seamless nature of things that are set that you already know your jokes, but you have this great way of weaving in and out just seamlessly between like something just happening in the moment back to your set. And that's why like I don't know the difference a lot of times. So it was a really great job. Just I love how you take your time, and I would say just keep that up, and you know how you deliver stuff is fantastic. So
Keep having an existential crisis. Right at the end of your set. All right.
I will, I promise.
Yeah, we should always question. But no, give it up one more time for Simona, everybody. Woo!
Woo!
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're
Of course. We always love
great.
having you on the show. And next up, oh, by the way, John's internet cut out. If anybody was wondering why his square just like disappeared, he just
He's following East European women on the street right now, trying to kill them.
on the street, and then when he can, on the internet. But
give me
next
one
up,
second. I have a small human asking me. By the way, Simona, she loves your background. Lula,
oh wow,
so you gotta go. I'll get you the.
it's okay. She's probably
Okay.
safe to hear my next introduction.
It's all
Give
right.
it up for this comedian who comes all the way from Canada. Give it up for Desiree Walsh, everybody! Woo, 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 woo.
Woo!
Hello, I am surprisingly kid friendly. If you need that, if that's something you need.
Good.
I was actually gonna open my set with God bless comedians who can do stand-up comedy drunk and high. I am slightly tired and I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how it's gonna go. Most of you know that I am Canadian. Yeah. And I am also disabled. There's really no joke there. I just like saying these things now at the top of a set. I also work in a bank. And I recently got a new job, and the job actually has to do with specifically like disability and accessibility and like creating more access. But I'm being trained over the computer, so nobody who is my new colleagues knows that I am disabled because the air is still poison in Canada, so we can't leave our homes. So I'm being trained remotely, and the woman who's training me started with, "Do you even know anything about accessibility?" And immediately I went into all the jobs I had that related to like disability and accessibility. I have talked extensively about my education, did not mention the 37 years of lived experience as like a disabled woman. So now she just thinks like I'm an able-bodied white woman who likes to help. just saw like some disabled people and was like, I can help. This is me running. I don't know how you do it because I don't even stand up to brush my teeth, but I assume there's lots of hand gestures. So that is, yeah, and there's really like there's no point. We've passed the point of, oh yeah, I use a wheelchair. So today I sat quietly and listened to part of a presentation where 15 minutes of it was about different types of disabilities. And I just didn't know what was a good point to interrupt and be like, I have at least 3 of these conditions. It's okay if we move on. Yeah. Other fun facts about me. This isn't about disability, but it kind of is a disability. I am addicted to psychics. I low-key love psychics. Like I have to work so hard not to accidentally give a psychic all my money. There's a place in Toronto where I live called Dundas Square, and it's like outside of the big mall, and like many religious people, stand out there and preach, and also lots of cult leaders, sometimes psychics. There's a guy that bangs on a bucket. It's a good time. I have to avoid it though, because I will accidentally join a cult because it seems like they have some good ideas, or at least grape juice and pizza. Yeah, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with Dr. Phil and the shows where a lady has an internet boyfriend that they've given all their money to because they swear he's real. Yeah. The only difference between me and those women, it has not happened yet to me. That is what happened. That's a good one for the small person. If you meet a man on the internet or anyone and they say, "Give me money, I'm trapped in jail," don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. But I did go see a psychic once, and it was a pretty good experience. I asked her who I was going to marry, and she knew right away. She said, "It's a man that you work with, and you talk to him every day. He's a little bit younger than you, but you speak to him every day." And I said, "Oh," and she said, "Is there a man like that?" And I said, "Yes, he is gay." Usually that's the laughing part. And she kind of did the thing like, "Oh no, he's not gay. You just think he is." And I said, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Like, I've seen him full on kiss a man at Pride." And then she said, "Oh," and then I said, "So who am I gonna marry?" And then she was just like, "Well, not him." Thank you. That's my time.
Give it the Desiree, everybody. We're moving spotlight and switching to gallery view. Getting timer ready for the last comedian. All right. I know. Encore. But no. So jumping right into it. Again, incorporating things that are actually happening in the room, like being surprisingly kid-friendly. And then you, like, upped it a notch by, like, bringing it back towards the end of your set. So good on you. And I feel like you're going to have so much fun with your material as, like, you kind of explore these newer subjects as far as, like, everything about your new job. And, like, the main thing that stood out to me is, like, going into more the premise that you've already set the foundation for, of, like, basically what you're saying, that you've gotten so nervous at your new job that you've forgotten that you're disabled.
Yeah, that's exactly what has happened.
Which I think is gonna be, like, it's already really fun, and I think that you can dig into it more. And it's just like it's gonna give you a good chunk of material, and I'm excited for it. And then the as far as, like, the transition from the riffing stuff into, like, your more normal material, I thought you did it really smoothly with the drunken high versus tired. And then, yeah, there were, like, a couple sections where, like, you sneaked in some older jokes, like the air being poison and that sort of thing. And I thought it was, like, a good way to, like, bridge the gap for, like, again, you know, thinking about your set and, like, multiple concepts, and also, like, of course, like, the entire, like, huge fan base that you have. Like, the people who are used to your normal material, this was, like, a good way to bridge them into, like, being accepting of, like, newer material and introducing new stuff. Thought it was very smart the way that you laid it out. Also, I hate the woman who's training you at your new job and, like, the audacity to question your credentials. Like, that's rude.
We didn't know each other at all. I didn't think it was.
What's that?
We didn't know each other at all. Like, I don't think it was out of line at all to be like, "Hey, do you work in have you ever worked in accessibility?"
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like
much harsher for
Yeah,
you.
no, like, she was just kind of chatting quietly, like it wasn't like a malice thing.
Well,
She seemed
probably
really
make it a
nice.
malice thing. It's always funnier when you hate people you work with. That's not necessarily true. Sorry, that's a joke and not actual advice. But also, like, I love the whole bits about, like, your obsession with psychics, and then you had a nice clean transition into that with the whole, like, my addiction to psychics is like a disability. Good way to, like, bridge the themes. And then you had the bit, honestly thought, and take this as a tag if you want, but I really thought that you were going to be like, I'm in danger of like joining a cult. No, just comedy, like something like that.
Oh, that'd be good.
Just like comedy is a cult, or like any kind of
'cause
performance art.
It's
So
kind of like a cult or a gang.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You can never leave.
You can never lose. No, not until
No.
you get booed off. Then you
Yeah.
can move. But I also thought, and if not, this would be a note. Yes, Amir, you can record the set. I will figure out how to do that in a second. But you had the bit at the end of your set that was like, it was the bit that was bringing it back to it being kid friendly. That was like, and that's a good message for kids. Like, don't give strangers on the internet your money just because you ask them to. I really thought you were going to be like, except Tom. Tom's fine, or something like that. Like, that might be fun, but it's also like very specific,
Yes,
like to me.
yes.
But like, if you do more internet shows, like you can plug in like whoever your host is instead of me, and that might be a fun
Okay.
joke. Or if it's a live mic, still give your host your money. I don't know. That's just what I thought of. So
Yeah.
anyway, take it away, Lisa.
No, I really enjoyed the set. I like that. Thank you for saying kid friendly. That was really funny. And it was just a nice. It was fun. And then you're like, I don't understand how comedians do this drunk cry. I'm a little bit tired, and we don't know how this is gonna go. I thought that was awesome. I like how you have found a new way to say I'm Canadian, and I'm to say it like you like. I was like, oh, I wrote a new way to get that in, sort of just place it out there.
Yeah.
You've done a different things with a humble brag. It still works, but I like that you're still playing with it and having fun with it. And I really don't know how you're gonna do it every time, even if I've heard it a few times. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
enjoy that. I will say as one thing, your background's a little bit darker than normal today. So like half of your face is a little bit more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like it's the
Okay.
right spot is like to your, I guess to your.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So like I just wanted you to know that. So that
Okay.
it's not like it wasn't like Phantom of the Opera or anything, but it was like
That's what I was going for, so I'm disappointed.
all right, yeah, all right. So, but it was much darker. There's like usually you have a lot but brighter background. So it's I just want to let you know that it does convey a little bit, like it was just like your bright spots a little bit like here as your light.
Okay.
So basically I just want to let you sorry, my small child. Thank you. All right, Lula. Sorry. Single parenting right now. Anyway. So what was this? Who likes to help? Oh, I loved that this was my running. This
Yeah.
was great. This was great physicality. It was a perfect use of the zoom of like, and is this how you
Yeah.
do lots of arm gestures? Like I loved all of that. I thought you did a wonderful job of execution with that, because it was just the right amount of movement.
Yeah.
And and we already know that that's not this is how you do it. It was really well done. This is me me running. So, and I wrote love it, great physicality, addicted to psychics, like I thought you did a really good segue there, and that made me laugh. And that was it. The guy being something on it was a bucket, and then was it you say it's a good time or something? It was like
Yeah.
I love that. The delivery was great. And that was a lot of fun, and it definitely made me like guffaw, and I enjoyed that. I just like that you have different pacings and the way that you set up different jokes. You did physicality at one point, you did that, and it's all very personal, real, and present. But you had different styles tonight, like put together very well, if that makes sense, seamlessly. So I liked that. I even when you said when you didn't get the reaction you wanted from that he's gay, and I think it's there. I think tonight, I think it was just there was a little bit maybe in the delivery of he's gay of how she says it, maybe.
Yeah.
Or how you say it, like it was just a timing thing, really, a little bit.
Yeah.
But what the gem that came out of it is this is usually the little plate that's the laughing part. Like I loved that.
Yeah.
So it was you being present and making a joke of that, which is to me that was even like a gift of knowing you that's there and you can do that, and that I liked that part. Like you made it even funnier that way, and so that you have that in your pocket is great.
Yeah.
Kissing a man at Pride, I liked that. It's a very specific image. full on kissed a man. I think you said full on kissed a man at Pride. Like,
Yeah.
like there's no possibility of this man not. He's out at Pride. Fully
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good description and a really good
Yeah.
specific example to give her. And I thought that was really, I enjoyed all of that. So like I said, I felt like you had different styles of jokes tonight put together really well. And I think that this was overall a really strong set. And I like that you're still, even though I've heard some of it, I think it's at times that you still find new ways to reintroduce it, to do the concepts and to do the jokes. So they stay fresh to you and they stay fresh to us. So thank you.
Good. Okay.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Give it up one more time for Desiree, everybody. Woo!
Woo.
Also, up next, give it up for our last comedian of the evening. She's funny. She's got a closet behind her. Give it up for Amira. Woo, 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 woo.
All right. Okay. So my dad's I can't see the timer. Let me just change the thing. Okay. So my dad so he's always like, all right. So he likes watching children's movies. Like one of his favorites is Aladdin, but because we're Arab, he likes to call it Aladdin. So he has like this little mini drum and he's singing along and he'll be like, I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you let your heart decide? This is the same guy that calls me a whore. I mean, a lot of foreigners have trouble saying some words, but he has no problem pronouncing whore. Like, also another one of his favorites is Annie. So he'll be singing, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you, it's only a day away. I'll try to like talk to him in the middle of the movie, like about my depression, and he'd be like, shut up, Annie's on. Right, okay. Like so regular movies, he won't like care, he won't pause it, he'll just go to the bathroom. But for these children's movies, he'll pause it. He doesn't want to miss a thing. All right. Okay, so I was talking to my therapist the other day, and I was telling her, like, in my past relationship, I had to act like I was someone else, like I had to act like a normal person. So I couldn't text him as much as I wanted, or like, you know, tell him about my bad day in like, you know, 7 paragraphs. I don't know. I just couldn't like ask a whole bunch of questions about what we're doing on our date. It's like, that sounds exhausting. And I was like, yes, I had to take several naps a day to just be in this relationship. I don't know. I still miss it though. So me and my family went to the Dead Sea. It's really like dead in there. Like nothing can live there. So my aunt was trying to warn my dad and everyone else, but we kind of already knew. Don't open your eyes. It's gonna burn your eyes if you do. So he doesn't like people telling him what to do. He opened his eyes and dove right in. I was like, why did you do that? He's like, I wanted to see the fish. I'm like, did you not get it from the title? It's dead. Go to another sea. I don't know. So, all right. I was complaining that I was getting older, and like that I'm soon gonna have to go to a doctor to get fertilized if I want to have children. But it sounded like I would have to go to Home Depot and get some fertilizer. And just sit on it. It just sounded weird. Okay, so I went out this guy that does Reiki, and it's like they pass energy but not touching you. And he's like, do you feel it? And I was like, no, not really. But we'll pretend like things went well, and I went back to his place. And I come from a strict Muslim family, so I don't really do anything before marriage. But he wanted a hand job, so I was like, how about a Reiki hand job? Can you feel it? Yeah, I don't see him anymore. Uh, all right. So I was being harassed because I'm attractive, and so I went home. I was really depressed. I turned off my lights and put on Adele, as depressed women do. Family came upstairs, tried to cheer me up. They played this Michael Jackson song, "Beat It," and they're like, "Next time a guy harasses you, what do you tell him to do?" And I'm like, "Beat it." And they're like, "No, say it louder. What are you gonna tell him to do?" I'm like, "Beat it, yeah." And then we started dancing like in the movies, and everything was fine. All right, so I had this weird message from a guy on Facebook. He was like, "Hey, do you want to come live with me? I'll pay you $300 a week." I'm guessing to do sex stuff and maybe just listen to him, but his feelings. I was like, "No, thanks. I make more on unemployment, and I don't have to do weird sex stuff." My dad made some weird salad and was like, "Oh, come try it." I'm like, "No, thanks. I don't like olives." And he's like, "Oh, come on, you have to try everything once." And I'm like, "Is that why you got married 4 times?" That's my time. Thank you.
Woo, 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 woo! Give it up for a minute, everybody! All right. One moment, please. Just kicking my self out of the room real quick. Never mind. I'm not figuring it out again. Some things never change. Aren't we gonna miss this when I'm gone? But here we go. Anyway. Oh my god, where is my Zoom window? Oh god, sorry. That was way too long of a transition. I apologize. Oh no. Now, we don't need to spotlight that.
Spotlighted it.
Okay, whatever.
Now
I'm just gonna
spotlighted.
kick this bitch out of the room. I just always, like, get nervous because then it's like, do you want to report this person? It's like, no, it's me! Anyway. Jumping into your set, after that long transition, there are lots of things that I really liked about it. I think that, like, the most rewarding thing about seeing you previously and seeing it now is I think that, like, what I was talking about before, I don't know if it was intentional to take our notes from last time, but one of the things that we had mentioned was kind of like about transitioning into some of the more shocking stuff, and I feel like what you did with the talking about your dad and like singing along to Aladdin before the fact that like he calls you a whore, that is exactly what I mean, and it made it so much easier to laugh along with you for that. And then also I was kind of like confused, like not in a bad way, but I almost felt like then after that with Annie, I was being set up for another twist like that. And you still had a twist. It was just like a different kind because you went into like the depression. It's like, no, Annie's on. Which again was fine. I was just like, oh, I thought I was gonna like call her something else horrible. Because you know every different children's movie needs a different slur to call your daughter, I guess. But no, the only thing I would say for the Annie section is that you also have the more room. If you want to kind of react to that moment more as yourself in the story when you're like, hey, Dad, can I tell you about my depression? It's like, no, Annie's on. And it's like, you can also act out the moment of, like, your reaction. It's like, oh, excuse me, Dad. Don't let me, like, get in your way of watching Annie. I think that could be fun if you want to dig into it more. But I also thought that, like, just because I guess I'm feeling a little meta tonight, the thing that I thought about when you had your joke about the 7-paragraph text message conversation with your ex was that, like, that would be a great opportunity to be like, come on, therapist, like, I've told you I'm a comedian, like, this was another creative writing exercise for me, like, maybe something in there, but as opposed to other times I've heard this joke, the, wanted to see the fish joke connected for me more this time. Like, I always got the part of that joke that was like, obviously his eyes are gonna burn because the Dead Sea is like full of salt, but I also never thought through that, like, oh yeah, that's why there are also no fish in there, because they're all dead. But nonetheless, so it was something about that that like landed for me differently this time that was good. And then you had the great premise and the great joke of the going to Home Depot to get fertilized. And nothing I would change about that except that I want to hear more. Because you introduce this great premise or this great, like, nugget of your life, which is, like, there's so many different aspects, because I have a friend who just did it recently, of like going through the process of like getting fertilized to have children, when it's a more difficult issue. And like it's just like it's a lot of givens that I think that you can mine if you want to like really research all like the steps and stuff, which maybe you have or maybe you haven't already, but like it's a whole genre I think you can do. And I also think that it's something that like people talk about less, but is something that we should talk about more, because I think it happens more often than we realize, and it's therefore more relatable than we realize. So that would be like a nice place to focus your energy. Speaking of energy, Reiki hand job was great.
Yeah.
Big fan of Reiki hand jobs. I'm not sure what I would add to that. I think it's great the way it is. And also like following that up with this is another one that like caught me by surprise, but like, you know, being harassed because I'm attractive. Like, I don't know, there's just something very nonchalant about it, and it had a charisma that I loved. And then also the like, you know, as its women do, like crying and listening to Adele, like also very relatable. I'm also having some acid reflux because of all of the Gatorade that I've drunk over the past 2 hours. And oh, I thought it was also very smart, the like you could phrase your last section of your set as like, and maybe even dig into the premise a little bit more of like, the best part of unemployment is that I don't have to do sex work anymore. Or something. Like
Anymore.
yeah, anymore. Like I don't know, I feel like there's a couple different perspectives you can take on it. Like if you want to make the joke of like, depending on the time, like if unemployment is giving a lot right now, or is it just that you were never making that much money from sex work before anyway? Like there's different ways that you can take that joke too.
You can also say like then you would be employed. Like,
yeah.
it's sex work.
So nonetheless,
employment. I don't know.
You know what, Lisa? That's actually all I gotta say. So why don't you just keep on going?
Sorry, I just shut you down. That's Tom's last feedback too for officially. So
Officially,
I
I'm
wanna
sure I'll
give
still be
you
on a ton.
more room. I didn't mean. I was just like thought that was a funny way to think about that. I thought you had a lot of really strong stuff tonight. I really enjoyed it. Just a few things of I would take a moment to introduce yourself or like say hey or hi, you know, like you went right in, you were ready to go, which I know is good, and I know you're recording it, so like I'm sure that was part, but I just want to remind you take a moment to say like hi, hey, you know, and then jump into it, just to give us all a breath to be like welcome, because we were just like woohoo, you're coming in, and
Damn
so
it, we didn't give her permission to record. Sorry, Amira. I'll send you a clip after.
It's okay. Yeah.
You did it. See, I tried. Hold on. No, fine. He'll give it to you. He's very good that way.
Sorry, Lisa. I didn't mean to throw you off your rhythm.
It's not at all. You didn't. I liked the whole stories with the Aladdin and the Annie. I think you could even go for it even more, like with the singing, because I felt like there was maybe a little bit of holding, because I feel like, you know, you're like doing your dad and like this thing and how he's being silly because he's doing Aladdin, singing the Aladdin. You can, I don't know if your dad is singing, like I'd like to see, like, does he get really committed? Does he have like a happy smiley face on there? Oh, go. Yeah. You could just be like your dad, like it was there. I think you could just turn up the volume a little bit. Does that make sense? Like, cause you're there, just turn it up a little and it'll be like, oh my God. And then, so when he calls you a whore, what? And same thing with the tomorrow, which, and I was expecting it to be like another sexual slur too. Also, I was like, oh, or maybe get whore in there and then say something else. I don't know.
He does call me a slut, so I can add that in. Yeah.
There you go. But also, I think it's funny because I know Annie very well. But that you want to talk to him about your depression, and he's singing tomorrow. You know, I love you tomorrow, like another day.
It's always a day away. Well, not for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe I don't know. There was just maybe there's a tie in there, maybe there's not. I just know it. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like we're talking about depression, and like literally, the song is about being optimistic. Shut up. No, like I don't talk to you. And you're like,
yeah.
But I thought that was fun. When you say being normal, I love that whole thing. I don't in the text messages, because the 7 paragraphs. I loved how specific you were. And that to me is what made it, because like you're like, oh, I know that. I've tried to almost do those 7 paragraphs. Like everyone's had that like I just texted someone too much moment. Now they think I'm crazy. You know, I'm no longer a well-adjusted human. I'm a text monster. I don't know. Like, so I think that was, I loved the very specificity of and that's to me what made the whole joke really like land really, really well. Let me turn the page. Several naps too. I love that. It took me several naps a day to get through that. I was exhausted. And I love it. And then I love the little throwaways. I still miss it though. Like,
I just added that. Yeah.
that was awesome. I still miss it. Like this sort of being, and it makes the storytelling present again. And like also just a really good, you have this really great way of just throwing in that little thing. And you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. You know, it's like the Jack in the Box incident, and it pops up. You're like, woohoo. I liked that. And I liked how I've been to the Dead Sea. You're like, it's really dead. This title of Dead Sea isn't enough. It's really dead. Like, it's not just like a title, you know,
like half dead. No.
Yeah, it's not like half dead. I like that. And the whole thing of him, I wanted to see the fish. And I liked how you got the whole buildup. This is something you could possibly play with. Take it or leave it. If you do an impression of him and it's after he's been in there and I don't know, but like I wanted to see like I don't know, I just imagine like the burning and him, seeing some reaction or see some physicality of like what it was like for him to jump in the Dead Sea with his eyes open. And I wanted to see the fish. I just imagined a man like crying, like I wanted to see the fish. I don't know, but maybe there's something there with the physicality or that. It was really funny. More about his eyes. There was something about like, I want to know how bad were his eyes.
He had to wear sunglasses for a whole week so he doesn't scare children.
Oh my God.
They were really puffy.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a great detail. I don't know if there's room to throw it in, but that's funny. I really did like the get fertilized, like Home Depot getting fertilized. And I do think there's more room for more stuff around that too. Like, getting what it's like getting fertilized from Home Depot versus, being fertilized by a doctor. I don't know. There was just some fun stuff there.
Because I don't have insurance.
There you go. See, you got them. They're right there. I loved nice. I thought it was a really great explanation of was it Reiki? Yeah, like Reiki. I thought that was a really succinct one, and then it moved so well into the joke. I wrote nice explanation of that because sometimes those concepts can be really difficult to explain or get, and like you just encapsulated perfectly in a few just one little sentence, and it completely aided your joke. It was wonderful. So I decided to give him a job. Did you feel that? That was great. I put a star next to it. I was like, yeah, that is so funny. And do you feel that? And I'm like, and you're like, I don't see him anymore too. That's that whole little, you add that thing in. I like that rhythm. You have this great where you sort of set it up and then you have like this giggle and you like sort of insert that little last thing. I enjoy that very much. I think it's a very much I'm going to say it, Desiree. You ready? POV, point of view.
Yay!
I waited to the end.
Take your shots, audience.
There you go. John missed out. Now, and it's for Tom's last official show. Yeah,
you also have to talk about your box.
Oh, yes.
Not a dirty joke. That is a Zoom box joke.
Sorry. No, sorry. No. The box that you have complete and utter control of this little world of box, but your POV, like I think that your identity, you talk about your Muslim background, and that's wonderful. That's really great to know, and I think it gives you so much material. It's wonderful, but also just your delivery. You have this sweet giggle that you do, and then it's sort of like underneath that sweet giggle is that like little fun, like that little piercing, like I still like it makes us the surprise. Funny quip that comes right after it. So it's sort of disarming, a little giggle, and then we have that, and that's why I feel like I was being harassed because I'm attractive, like that kind of thing, like sort of like, which was great. And then the beat it, I think like and having fun, and you can, what was it, everyone, what did I write? I don't remember. I'm so sorry. But like, Oh yeah, it wrote down like the movie montage, an 80s movie montage. That's what it made me think of, like in my mind. Is that, and I feel like that's kind of what you're referring to, like, and everybody,
We're all dancing. Yeah.
they're all dancing. And you could do a little dance or do something. I don't know. It was like, I like the beat it. Like, you go for that. You just turn up the volume there. The one, and then one little thing is just having the joke was at the end about, it was fun. It was funny, but I feel like you could have had more of a button at the end. I don't know if that was like time at the end, but like just having something that sort of refers back to the top, or sort of that feels a little bit like the end of the set or closure a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Like about the Aladdin stuff and like kids movies.
Either that, or another option is like tie your last joke back somehow to like the host or the room itself.
Or it just sort of I feel like just like knowing that you're ending it, like putting a button or a tie at the end of like, yep, this was my set tonight, and it's not just something to make it feel like we've all come to the end together, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
All right, like really fun stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Give it up one more time for Amira! Woo, 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 woo! All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight myself real quick as I take us out. To our hundreds upon thousands of viewers, thank you so much for watching. Big thank you to my co-host Lisa, to the comedians for being so open to feedback. Again, if you want to support the stream, you can do so at districtcomedy.io, or hit the share, like, and subscribe button, just to show your support. And actually, before I take us out tonight, whether or not people will hear it or see it, but something very special about today, in addition to it being my last official show, is it is also my fiance's birthday. And I just want to take a second and give a shout out to him, because he is the reason why all of this is possible. He has had to start many a stream for me while I have been like in the car on my way back home from work to make it all happen, and it's just an incredible support. Emotionally, comedically, in every way. So I just wanted to like show some appreciation real quick, and I love you and happy birthday. And that being said, if you want to be on the show, you can sign up using the link in the episode description. And I won't see you next week, probably, but have a good night. Woo! Also, welcome Rebecca Bollinger taking over the show. Yeah! End on a good note. Good night.